Yes, guys, welcome back to the Win and Get Life, a podcast. In this podcast, we aim to inspire, motivate. It's all about mindset, fitness, just general life as well. Today, actually, Misha's going to actually interview me, ask me some questions on it. It's me firing questions at her. So, yeah, pressure is on me to answer and give you guys some value from my journey. This is all about mindset. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some questions for it, man.
Woo! Right. So, by the way, just a disclaimer, I've got Invisalign in. So if I start tripping over the words or I just sound like I've got a stutter at any point, it's because I've got big trays in and I've also got a crossbite. So my jaw's being swung over.
So just mind the slight list.
And I feel like I've got a wig, like my hair looks like I've got a wig on. So anyway, right. So I have my questions. Okay. How did it feel to propose to me?
A relief, fucking hell, sweating back out.
Anyway, right, let's really get into it. So, what's the biggest mindset shift you've ever had to make to get in shape from being overweight and staying in shape?
Okay, cool. So I can't tell you the amount of times that I've lost 2 stone. 2 stone off, 2 stone on, 2 stone off, 2 stone on. The biggest mindset shift that I had to make to actually lose the weight and stay in shape this time was not aim for a 2 stone loss. Stop thinking of an actual metric, like a number on the scales that you want to be, and think of more of a person who you want to become. And if that person that I want to become is like healthy, is lean, like do they show up, are they patient? Once I started focusing on just being a type of person that I actually wanted to be, the 2 stone then become a metric. Then become a result of the byproduct. Do you know what I mean? Like I lost 2 stone due to me thinking I need to be this certain person. And I think that not aiming for a metric, but just aiming to be somebody was probably the best thing that I'd done.
And this isn't a question, but I think what people don't know about you, and you might be annoyed that I say this, but you really struggle with your relationship with food at times. Like I think people will look at you and think he's really driven and motivated 100% of the time to look great, but actually you're really driven and motivated to eat food. Like you have really unhealthy relationship with from diets because of what you've gone through and people putting you on super, super extreme. And that really caused a lot of harm for a long time. So you rebounded. But I think it's probably people who are listening to this don't understand how in your head you get. When people talk about food noise, you have really bad food noise.
I've got demons with food, seriously. I'm not your typical bodybuilder. I'm not your bodybuilder guy that, I have been robotic on plans. That's been my issue. People have not really dove into who I am, what I need, what makes me tick, and they presume that I'm this robot.
Yeah, because you're a coach, you are super driven.
And I will stick to things, but me sticking to things far too strictly has forced me in a worse position.
Yeah.
And the reason my relationship with food's so bad is because, when I was going through a bit of a tough time, I used to be covered up or masked with food.
Escape.
Yeah, because I used to live with my nanas. I was forced to live with my nanas. Not forced, I love my nanas, but I won't work with my parents. So it's like, come Tesco with me. I don't want to go to Tesco with me.
Oh, yeah, she used
but I'll buy you a butty and I'll buy you cookies and I'll buy you this. And that's why my relationship with food is so bad.
Bribery.
So I feel like I was just constantly thinking, how can I get more food out of my nana, or what's in the cupboard? And that's just my food noise. I've always said I could do food competitions with what I eat.
Yeah, you are a human dustbin. I think it's insane. When we eat out at a restaurant, everywhere we go for a restaurant, they're like, oh, it's too much food.
I'm like, it's not, bro.
When the waiter almost judges you and they're like, oh, no, you don't need all of that. And he's like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, and I may be judged for that in the fitness world, but I don't care. I'm actually in shape now.
Yeah.
Gained control.
You've really mastered it a lot better this time, but I think it's not been easy to, just see you so frustrated with why you feel the way you do about food.
So the biggest bit of advice would be make the goal you becoming a person, not an actual 2 stone loss, because I've lost 2 stone too many times.
Yeah. Very good. So you've just mentioned it. There was negative, you could say, things that happened throughout your life. Do you believe it affects you today?
I think it's affected me in only a positive way. It's like there's been a lot of negative things. People have been through worse, of course they have. But there's been a lot of negative things that have gone in my life, and I just see it as they happened for me, not to me. And I always felt like I never, as a kid, I never was like visually struggling. Like I always tried to use it in a positive way. Like I'd be with my friends and I'd be creative, and I always just thought that's how life was really. So like my mum, battling with alcohol, drugs, prescribed drugs, depression, and not having a lot of money growing up. I was like, okay, cool. So I think I'm going to start a business when I get older, and I did. So it's like that how, and also I learned how to work my ass off. So it's almost like, don't be like that, do this instead. Some people might say, okay, so this is how I had it growing up, so this is how life is, and I'm going to continue. I've got an excuse because, I had it hard.
I always say you wouldn't be who you are today if you hadn't gone through what you've gone through. And even as your partner, I'm not glad it happened, but like to some extent, like you wouldn't be who you are for me if you hadn't gone through it. I can't explain it, but it is like you're so driven, you're so caring, you want to look after everybody, and like you might have been like that anyway, but like just the way you are with your nanas, but you definitely always wanted more. You were never willing to accept anything less. So like you wouldn't. I don't think you would be this driven.
It genuinely has affected me so much, so much. I've seen what unhealthy is. I've seen what depressed is. I've seen what poor is. I've seen what really bad habits are. And it's like, I can be in control. I can be the opposite. I can be healthy. I can, do well. I can work hard every day. And that's no bash on my mum. Like, I'm so pissed off that it happened to my mum, to my nanas, to my family. No, my mum is, by the way, through me doing what I've done, my mum is completely like clean now, like completely clean, completely recovered. She battled with illness, everything. She is sweet, and she's on the way here. So it's like even taking it off my mum, even going to my leg break, which was one of the worst. Genuinely, everyone says they've done the knee right. How bad's my leg? People don't really like. People think that I did my ACL or something. Like, I tore my leg off. Right, it was hanging out. And that could have.
It wasn't a shark attack, but
no, everyone thinks it's a shark, but I say it.
But it's bad.
And it's like, even that leg, right? I gained loads of weight after it. Was depressed after it. That leg break is probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because I would have still been trying to play rugby now. Do you know what I mean? Focusing on rugby and I'm going to be the sportsman. It completely. And I think it was meant to happen that it took me out of physical sports for the rest of my life, like our team sports. It literally did not give me the option to ever go back. It wasn't something that I'm still, got actual disability with it. So that actually then let me focus on other things, more important things, career, fitness. Do you know what I mean? What I'm doing now. So that leg break was the best thing that ever happened to me, whereas other people break the leg and go, I done my knee and I was going to go pro, and now I'm going to just drink every weekend, do this and do that. So negative things that happen in your life, trust me, if you frame it in the right way, it happened for you.
Yeah, but it's a process, isn't it? Like, they need to talk to people and dig deep to overcome that initial pain reaction to just spiral. Like, there's someone out there for everything at the minute, and if you feel like you've gone through hardship and you feel a spiral, like, you need to get help before it gets to that. So everyone needs to speak to somebody. So next one, does losing weight guarantee a shift in mindset and confidence? Guarantee?
I wouldn't say it can happen, but sometimes when I've been my absolute leanest, I've been my most unhappiest, haven't I?
Yeah.
Like, I'll be looking in the mirror.
Skinny boy.
Like absolutely inside out, veins on veins. abs on top of abs that I've never seen before, looking like a cheese grater and saying, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I'm not lean enough. I'm not. And actually, when we've gone to social occasions, I remember we met our good friends for a meal, and I was inside out, and I just sat there. I was like, I feel so unhappy. I'm panicking about what food I'm eating. You know, I'm scared of I was always scared of reverting back. So the fear of returning to where I was greater than the kind of enjoyment of success. So how I've combated that now is I always look back at the start and where I am now. And okay, I'm not as lean as the leanest that I've been. However, there's certain milestones and I'm nowhere near my worst. Yeah. And I'm very, very happy there. So I think what you've got to do is break up your journey in certain milestones and kind of look back at them out. I know it's quite cliche and cheesy, but I was so focused on just being leaner. I think looking back at every little milestone and going, I did that. I'm happy. I'm really happy where I'm at. If my fat loss stopped now and I'm in okay shape and everything's fine, then I'd be a lot more happier than just focusing on getting more and driving my body to a further point.
Yeah. I think, like, from my experience and what I experience with women, like, it doesn't guarantee confidence and a mindset change, and you'll still struggle if you've lived in that. Like, of course, like, women that we support have lived in a certain way, in a certain mind for 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 10 years and longer. Even when the weight comes off, they deal with new problems and issues because the goalpost changes, doesn't it? Like, you think you're happy losing 3-4 stone, but then when you get to 3-4 stone, the conversation then starts being, oh, but my skin now. And I'm like, come on, girls, like, you've come so far. And I get it because I still scrutinize myself from time to time. And that's just the way of life. Yeah. We're always going to look at ourselves and point out imperfections. But they're imperfections to us, but not to other people. Yeah. And again, that's the mindset. Like, confidence does come. Like, I am proof of confidence can come. It takes time. The mindset on yourself can come. But there's always new things that arise.
Yeah, I think you can practice confidence, and I actually think it takes years to be a confident person. Have a little bit of self-belief, especially if you've been overweight and if you've been overweight numerous times, because in your mind, yes, your body says that you're a fit, healthy, confident person, but in your mind, you can still be the fat kid sometimes. Yeah. I was fat growing up. I was pretty chubby growing up. I've been overweight as an adult. So, like, early when I lost the weight, getting kind of attention from maybe the opposite sex or getting compliments, it's still in your head, you're that same, you're that same kind of chubby kid that, wasn't getting attention a few months ago. So to get used to that can take time. I'm not saying I was getting loads of attention, me. Well, I obviously got you.
Fuming.
But it's like, you still are a certain person in your brain, and that can take time to switch.
Yeah, you are. I still struggle sometimes with, like, speaking to people when we're at our coachy environment places, and these people are often always been very into fitness. They have, they've definitely got struggles. I'm not saying that, but on the level of probability, I'm often usually the only one there who's come from the other end of the spectrum and needed to lose quite a lot of weight. Like, you don't often meet many women who at 23 years old needed a tummy tuck. So I can still feel quite silly having conversations with people about what I do if their social media is like proper bodybuilder, rips with abs. She's always been dead into the gym, because I still struggle with gym environments sometimes, and I'm not very driven by the gym. Like, I'll admit that. So I don't look a certain way. I've not got abs out, but I've still got an incredible backstory. But when they don't know that, I feel myself needing to tell it.
Yeah. 100%.
I've lost 6 stone. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's my comfort blanket for why I do what I do, and I find myself doing it sometimes.
100%.
And that's just because I still have like confidence imposter issues.
100%. When I'm speaking to someone who's majorly in shape, And I still feel slightly inferior. Like, he's thinking I'm fat. He's thinking
Yeah.
I'm not
He
in good
thinks
enough
that
shape.
I'm not good enough
He
as a
thinks I'm not good
coach.
enough. So my eyes are like going all over. Can't make eye contact. So
Yeah.
like, no, I've still got confidence issues now.
Yeah,
Like
you
right
do.
now that I'm working on. However, I am a confident guy. Do you know what I mean? Like I am.
You can look at me in the eye, but I'll say to Keith sometimes, I'm like, you can't make eye contact with people.
Yeah, and it's just like I'm just
And
uncomfortable
it's
in
so
myself.
crazy because people would think that you're really confident.
Yeah.
But if they actually observed you
I show signs
you
of
show signs of
insecurity.
absolute like nervousness.
100%, but I'm not scared. I am confident enough to talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I just say,
Exactly.
oh, I'm nervous as fuck, mate. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's just how I am.
And actually, us talking about it has allowed you to try and focus on just trying to relax in a situation and
Yeah.
make those eye contacts and not get super flustered.
Yeah. So, getting in shape and being in shape does not mean you are going to be confident. But what you've got to do is stack wins constantly.
Yeah.
Stack wins. You've got to be problem aware of the issue that you've got. You've got to really appreciate how far you've come, what you've done, and that will build confidence, knowing that you are winning. Keaton winning, you are a winner, and you are making progress. That will give you confidence. So make sure you see the wins, make sure you state the wins and reflect on the wins, and don't just think about what if I lose now, what if I'm not good enough, what if I want more and I'm not there. So yeah, make sure you stack as many wins as you can, build as much evidence as you can, and that will build confidence.
Amazing. So next one is, what would you tell your overweight 17, 18-year-old self if you could speak to him?
That's a tough one.
Because everyone's doing, I sat down for a coffee today with my 18-year-old person. So what would you say?
I would probably say that you're not in a bad situation, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, if yes, okay, you're not how you want to be, but you're not in a bad situation. You're just being taught the biggest lesson that you will ever need to be taught. Now you can either grow from that, or you can go and use it as an excuse for the rest of your life and not fulfill your potential. Because I would genuinely say there is so much potential in you that you can either shut off, or you can look at everything that's happened. You can look at every opportunity you've got in front of you, and you just need to take it, with both hands. What I would say to myself from an advice point of view is you need to get help sooner from someone else, because I was someone who thought I knew it all, thought I could do it on my own. Like, I know what I'm doing, but I would have said, Keaton, it's all good knowing what you're doing. Are you going to be able to stick it out and see it out for long enough to actually secure this result? I was not exposed to education, to coaching that much. I had my group of mates, and it was like, I'm quite a closed off guy. Like, I had my group of mates and that's that. But actually, when I started networking sooner, when I started opening up to, being mentored by someone who's in better shape, someone who's in a better position than me, the sooner I did that, I wish I did it a couple of years earlier, because it would have really, really set me up in life from a physical point of view, everything. Yeah. So I would have told myself to get help sooner. But ultimately, also trust yourself and trust them decisions, because eventually you're going to make the right decision. If you're in pain and if you feel terrible on how you look, you are going to work it out, but it's just about not being ignorant to the speed that you're going at. Don't take years to do it. Make the decision. Go for it. What have you got to lose? But ultimately, trust the general path. Trust that you can't go from A to B without feeling comfortable and without having fear. So yeah, no fear. Trust your decisions. Get help as quick as you can. That's what I wish I did. And realise that you're not in a bad situation and nothing is stopping you from actually taking action.
And we're engaged to the woman of our dreams.
Yeah, and I would have said, you know what, mate, in a few years, you'll be sweet. You'll have a later.
Right. Any techniques that you use to help with your mind that you want to share?
But okay, cool. So I've actually written a list down. Let me get it out. Right, okay, cool. So these are genuine ones that I've written down that I actually do, because you told me you was going to ask this question. So brain dumping is absolutely key. Sometimes I'll have a load of words and clutter in my brain and certain feelings, and all I do is just write it down. I'm pissed off, I'm not happy, I'm angry at this. And when I write it down, it kind of just is released from my brain and I feel a lot better. But sometimes I'll just write a full page of what doesn't make sense because it's in my head. And actually, once I write it down, it's so much better. If I've got certain jobs to do, if I've got little niggly bits that I just need to do, I make sure I just write it down in a list, and it makes me feel so much better getting it out. And then I can start ticking boxes of, okay, this is what needs to happen for me to cope with this certain thing that's on my mind. Number 2, giving myself time to think. Sometimes you'll be speaking to me, and like on a dog walk or something, you'll be like, you're not even fucking listening. It's just because I'm thinking in my brain of what needs to happen in my life and what I'm doing. That
happens way more often than just the dog walk.
Yeah, I'm
selective hearing.
Sometimes I'll be sat in my office and doing nothing, but I enjoy that. Or sometimes I'll be mindlessly, the telly's not even on, just sat on the couch, and I'm just actually thinking. I feel like people fill the time with busy nothingness, and to maybe stop them thinking about issues or certain things that they've got to do that they're in fear of doing. When I just stop and think, this is who I am, this is where I'm at, this is what I want, this is how I'm going to get there, and I could just really think things through, that helps me like tenfold. Reflection and kind of self-feedback as well, reflecting on what went well this week, what is it that I'm actually aiming for again. Okay, cool, what am I going to do next week? So give yourself that feedback of your performance, how you've done. Like, was it last weekend, just a little bit off with my food, a little bit, a bit too easy to overeat a little bit. Still in a deficit, still lost tons of weight this week, to be honest. But I'm like, right, next week I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit. I'm just going to tidy them choices up and be a little bit stronger. Not seeing an issue with what I did, but actually reflecting and going, right, this is where I can improve this week. I think that can help you massively. Educate people. This is going to be so cheesy again, but knowledge is power. Education. Learn. When you learn and you get good at something that you want to do, that builds confidence in your brain. From a mindset perspective, like, your mindset is so strong, then you're 100% sure of what you are doing and of what you need to do. So education, learning from someone who's been there, education platforms, whatever it is. Reading as well. Reading is so key. It helps with your language. It helps with your, kind of knowledge in general. It can help you with literally any topic. If you want to learn something, you can go and buy a book on it. And that is so powerful. And again, helps your mindset, builds confidence. Training, exercise is another one. Pretty simple one, that. Like, people say that, they'd rather get up and go straight to work and just do the work quick. I'm like, I feel so good after training. Mm-hmm. My mind feels so set up. And again, I'm sticking to my habits. I know that I'm moving forward. I'm challenging my mind and I'm challenging my body while I'm training, pushing myself the extra bit. I'm doing the fitness stuff at the minute. So that push yourself that extra mile and following through with your promises, like, right, I'm going to do 5,000 meters on the rower today.
Yeah.
Not stopping at 4.5, not stopping at 4, actually doing that extra bit, that helps your mindset as well massively, just following through and push yourself with the training and exercise side of things. Less scrolling. We're both guilty for this. Just less scrolling. Sometimes I just make sure that downtime is away from phone time. Do you know what I mean? Whether we're walking around the mall, whether we're having something to eat, whether we're just, with the dog or whatever we're doing. Dog's been a nightmare recently. But
there's an app for this, Opal.
Yeah.
People listening to this probably haven't heard of it. So there's an app that you can download called Opal, and you can choose to lock access to WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok, like the things that are really taking you away from your focus work. And once you do it, you'll pick up your phone naturally, even though you forget that you've just activated Opal and you can't get on your apps. And that's how the reality sets in, that you just mindlessly touch your phone constantly, because you'll try and do it and then Opal will be like, no, like, you're blocked for 20 minutes. So if anyone struggles with just trying to get into deep work and just touching the phone and getting distracted, it's definitely worth having a look at that app.
100%. Yeah, that's it on that question. Cool. Any more questions?
I've
got a question for you.
What?
then because I've got answers in my head, I'm firing now. Do you or have you had an all or nothing mindset?
Have I had an all or nothing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a difficult one. I think I've had an all or nothing mindset. I think I've done and attempted things thinking I'm going to do it all or nothing. But I've never followed through with an all or nothing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So it's never been positive. Yeah.
Oh, no, it's never been like all or nothing. Never has worked out for me. Never, ever, ever. So when I've tried to do all or nothing, it's always just I've given up. So I've not followed through with it. Might work for a little bit of a time, but no. I've always got to have a bit of a balance.
I think you've seen me with the all or nothing. Like, I've been so robotic. Like, I'm not just doing the plan that I've got, I'm doing more and eating less food. And like, I've been so all or nothing where I've got down to what percentage body fat, like something
You look like a little skinny boy.
ridiculous. Like, I'd say no to every single plan. We wouldn't have a meal out or date night for weeks.
But that's it. We should have seen straight away the situation there. Like, actually, I'm sat here now like, how did we even let that be okay?
Yeah, I know. Like,
That
honestly.
was always going to be a disaster.
And you know what? Like, if my weight went up, if I went off track, even if I missed a session, like, that would be me. Like, mindset, absolutely.
Yeah, me and the dog was
in the
in
bin.
for it every day.
And I was just kind of frightened of, but I was building real resentment with my whole life. Like, I just weren't happy with any of my life. I didn't want to get up in the morning because I was just so miserable. So having that all or nothing mindset where you've got to be robotic, all in on one way of life.
Yeah.
Like, you can cross the line sometimes. And now I feel like I don't know, like when I'm having a meal out, it's like, this is part of my life. This has its place. Do you know what I mean? This is absolutely fine. And that actually helps me in the long run stick to my diet. When I felt so restricted, there was one where I felt so restricted, as I was saying, when I got mega lean. I was so deprived of everything that I enjoyed. As soon as like the kind of official dieting phase ended, it was then I gained 17 kilos, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because I just went off plan once.
The
Again,
floodgates open.
it was all, and then absolutely nothing for a load of time and 70 kilos up. So the all or nothing mindset has actually done me a lot of damage in terms of fluctuating over time, be it going 2 stone up, 2 stone down.
It took like a year for you to be able to just get back into dieting after that. It really messed you up.
Yeah, 100%. And it's kind of like, just have that confidence in yourself. You don't need to be all in on one side. Have the confidence of, okay, I know who I am nowadays. I know that this food or this kind of, maybe a couple of days chill and not training is part of my life. It has its place. It's going to improve my life. Instead of thinking, I fucked it. I've got to, there's no point. I'm a failure. I've got to now eat loads of shit for days at a time. Doesn't make sense. So yeah, I'm not saying eat takeaways twice a week, by the way. I'm not saying eat loads of shit, but you don't have to be depriving yourself of absolutely everything. That actually caused me a lot of damage for years at a time with going 2 stone up, 2 stone down. So I have had an all or nothing mindset. Right now, I'm very balanced. Like, it is the weekend tomorrow. We will probably have something nice to eat, but I will still lose weight across the week. So
yeah, definitely. Any more questions?
No. And you've got any more questions for me?
Any more questions?
Off the cuff, bro. Nothing.
I suppose all I'd say is some of the questions that you have asked me, which aren't necessarily on this podcast, but like, for example, you've got a client who's 170 kilos.
Yeah.
So do you take a similar approach to me like I do with women, where I encourage flexibility, I let them do movement in what's comfortable to them? Like, do men take a different approach, or like, what's your opinion on helping people who are like over 100 kilos?
No, I think anybody who's 170 kilos knows that being 170 kilos isn't particularly normal. There's a certain mindset where, okay, there's something deep rooted here because it's not just excess food, it's quite a lot. So from a mindset perspective, you've got to kind of meet them where they're at right now. You can't completely, expect them to have this David Goggins mindset where they're going to be running marathons and, eating whole foods only. So yeah, he's got 100%. He's got kebabs in his plan. Yeah. He's got takeaways in his plan. Yeah. He's got he's also South Asian as well. So he's actually got South Asian style food he eats with his family. He doesn't weigh every bit of food. Yeah. So you have to meet people with where they're at currently. You can't expect them to just shift the mindset. There's obviously something deep rooted there. Yeah. He's also, there's health problems that have crept up. He's got blood clots. So we can't actually exercise that well. So the only controllable for him right now is a few steps and his food intake. Now, if he's just working and eating the blandest foods that he hates, how long is that going to last?
No.
170 kilo way. Guy who clearly,
enjoys food.
Enjoys food, turns to food when at times of struggle. If I make his
mindset...
mindset...
And the culture as well. The culture is very food orientated.
Yeah. So I'd be setting him up for failure, saying, no, you can't have that kebab. You can't have them chapatis. You can't have the bread. 100%. You can't have this. That's just depriving him of any enjoyment in life, and that will quickly damage someone's mindset. I don't want to damage this guy's self-belief. No. Have him fail on the plan and then go to 180, 190 kilos.
Go to an optimal coach and fail again.
Yeah.
And then it could end up dead.
Yeah, or end up on, serious medication or having serious operations. So
how much has he lost?
He's lost 20 kilos at this point.
Amazing.
Crazy. So 44 pounds, and he's going to continue.
Which isn't easy to do.
Definitely not from that. By the way,
I know people will argue, it falls off them when they're bigger.
No.
Well, for it to fall off, you've got them to be adherent, and that's a far gone situation and relationship with food. Yeah. So to get them to lose 20 kilos, you can't say it just falls off them quicker. Well, listen, the battle is harder.
Yeah. Bear in mind, this guy's got blood clots. He can't exercise. Like his heart.
Yeah, doctors won't let him.
The doctors will not let him. So he's doing very, very minimal movement. He's on very, very high food. So, So
his time's not even used up with just being distracted.
No.
So this is it. Like, you look at the psychology of the environment. Sometimes I'll say to women, whilst they've got like an hour waiting for the husband to come home and they recognise that they start getting a bit snacky, go for a walk, stay distracted. Like, if you recognise that that's boredom, you aren't doing anything, waiting for your husband to come home, fill that time with something, do your washing, do your whatever.
Yeah.
But he can't even fill that time. No. Like, he can't even fill the void of having time because you're not allowing him to train or walk. So it's hard because that actually puts him more time with his thoughts and his addiction, because that's what it is.
100%. You know what? I should have actually looked at his message this morning. He went to the doctors yesterday and they're going to give him feedback. So I'm looking forward to getting that. But yeah, like, if you're listening and you're thinking that you can't do it, you can't shift your mindset, you've probably just not been met where you're at the minute. You don't have the right plan. You think you default back to optimal routes, to carb timing, and to,
the only way to lose weight is insulin, and therefore you need to cut out chocolate, and you can't eat, you have to eat foods without carbohydrates.
Yeah, and these foods are going to hormonally react with you in this way and that way. Oh my God.
I get it. I get the science behind it, though.
Yeah. The scientific backing is there, but there's just psychological roots where someone's mindset.
But all we're saying is moderation, psychology of weaning people off, allowing them to lean in, build up confidence, champion it's like children in terms of like reward. Someone wants to feel applauded for their efforts, and even if that's deviating sometimes, like if a client loses a kilo and she says, I've had a rubbish week, I ended up eating chocolate on Tuesday, Wednesday, I didn't do half of my steps. You lost a kilo, babe. I ain't even caring about all of this stuff.
Exactly.
Why am I going to beat you with
take
do
the win,
more?
Move on.
Yeah.
Take the win and move on. Do you know what I mean? And just like, take every day as a singular battle. Let's win today. Let's win today's battles. Do you know what I mean? And just take it on a day-to-day basis. And actually, if you just focus on the day-to-day, the time will go quicker when you're thinking, I've got to lose weight this month, or I've got this event coming up, and you're thinking, I need to lose 2 stone in 3 weeks. You're setting yourself up for failure. What do I need to do today to give me the possibility to maybe, lose a bit of weight tomorrow. And you just got to take it every day. If the scales go up, okay, so let's win today's battles and make sure that the weight's down this week. And you just take it day by day. You win every day. Your brain resets every morning. You completely forget about the struggles yesterday, and it's a new struggle today, and you just will continue doing that. You do that as long as you can, and you'll win.
Yeah. Amazing.
Cool, guys.
Thanks for being on my show.
Yeah.
And let me interview you. That's all.